congested areas and, even getting to airports and airspace. So will the aircraft be able to come into a urban or a suburban setting and set down without the need for an airport, much like a helicopter could?
Much like a helicopter, yes.
Okay, so you're developing that potential.
Yes.
And then you mentioned the FAA, working with them.
Yes.
So assuming this all takes off, are they prepared to be able to control the airspace? Again, if you get this down to the point where folks are, obviously Uber and Lyft and others are, and you mentioned some of the big folks, Boeing and Horizon, because you could, to the point of the potential that you've been talking about here is that, the congestion you experience coming up from Fresno, your airspace obviously is much broader. It's not constrained to lanes, but there's still travel lanes in the air, and it's all controlled. So are they looking to that?
Yes.
Because, again, I can see where, again, some of the large airports are so congested, and that's obviously we in Sacramento benefit from some of that air traffic because folks are finding it less congested in the airspace for commercial airliners. Obviously, this may have a personal and or a commercial aspect to it, either one or both. So I'm just curious about they're looking forward because I could see there's going to require more folks and eyes on and
Yeah, Boeing, when they came down, they shared with us a video that's actually out on YouTube, and I'll be glad to send it to Alberto so he can distribute it to the board. And their video actually talks about their vision for an integrated transportation system that includes an advanced, what they refer to as the next-gen air control system that will allow both conventional commercial aircraft as well as piloted and autonomous eVTOL aircraft to all operate safely within the airspace. And they've been working very closely with the FAA as well as NASA. NASA's doing a lot of research right now with electric propulsion aircraft and what these eVTOLs will encounter in terms of air currents and atmospheric conditions flying in urban areas. Because when you start talking about flying into an airport, which is isolated and outside a normal urban area, the wind conditions around an airport are, while they can be gusty and they can come from different directions, certainly Sacramento Executive that I've flown into many times can be that way. But then when you come downtown and get around skyscrapers, now you have these venturis, now you have these air currents that are coming around those buildings, and it's going to create some challenges unless the aircraft are designed to handle that. And NASA's doing a lot of that work right now, studying that. I went to an AIA conference, the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics in Denver a year ago, and met with NASA teams that were there that were exploring all of that. And so there's a lot of work going on that the general public doesn't really know about, but the truth is, this is transformative technology. We are at a position in history, not unlike what was happening around the late 1940s, where aviation was transitioning from piston engine aircraft to jets. And we're going to see equal transitory change in our aviation industry. But when you start talking with companies like Boeing that have this integrated vision of including ground transportation with autonomous vehicles as well as electrified larger vehicles with these other air vehicles that are being developed now and combining that with large commercial aircraft, it's going to change the whole way that we move around the planet. So
just one other question as you're talking. I was thinking, and with the greater emphasis on folks certainly not going to brick and mortar stores to get their goods, and obviously Amazon and others have capitalized on that and been moving that marketplace. But this on-time delivery, and folks talk about drones, but you see, depending upon the nature and size of the things that are being ordered and delivered, that whole commercial aspect too. Again, with the vertical capacity to land right in somebody's front yard with this, and
Yeah, and it's initially nobody's going to be landing in people's front yards. I don't foresee. One of the advantages that we have here in the Central Valley is that we have a lot of open space. And the reason why we're able to fly our Alpha Electros today, and there's 2 of these aircraft that are down in Los Angeles that actually got there before ours did, those airplanes have not flown, and the reason is that the FAA is reluctant to allow them to fly over congested urban areas. Our aircraft flew 2 days after we received them, and it was because the FAA was very comfortable with flying these aircraft in the San Joaquin Valley. And of course, Sacramento has a great series of airports and airport infrastructure, and I could see, and I've had this conversation with Board Member Harris about the opportunities for connecting with charger infrastructure between Fresno and Sacramento and promoting a lot of additional operation for these early designs in this region.
Thanks.
Thank you. With that, we'll move on to Director Harris.
Thank you, Chair. Joseph, it's great to see you.
Great to see you too,
I
Jeff.
hope you'll have a little time after the meeting to visit.
Yes.
One thing you didn't touch on is the FAA regs as
Sure.
far as, the nomenclature that we've discussed many times about reciprocating
Right.
and non-turbine. In other words, for the FAA to acknowledge electric propulsion as a means to register aircraft so that they can be used for flight
Right.
training. So can you catch us up on where we're at on that?
Sure. We are actively doing endurance testing on one aircraft to comply with ASTM standard 2740, which is the ASTM consensus standard for light sport aircraft for electric propulsion systems. And we're sharing that data with the FAA, and the team at the Kansas City Small Aircraft Directorate that we're working with has been evaluating all of the data that we've been collecting on all the flights with these aircraft since we received them. They've sent a team of their certification engineers as well as one of their test pilots out. Their test pilot flew with me, did 5 flights in the aircraft. They are very excited about this opportunity to work with us because these are the first production electric aircraft that have arrived and are flying in the United States. And that gives them a unique opportunity to help develop the regulatory framework for larger aircraft, as well as the certification requirements for the Part 23 aircraft, which are slightly heavier and have slightly higher performance than the light sport design that we have. So all of that is working very well. As I said, we're up to 63 hours. I've figured out how to get an hour's flight time out of the aircraft now on a charge, which is kind of cool. And so our goal is by the end of, probably by the middle of October, I'll have achieved the 100 hours. And then we'll be submitting our petition for exemption to the FAA, which we anticipate it'll be about a 120-day process to go through, but we anticipate it will be approved. And then once it's approved, the aircraft will be recertified to special light sport, and we can start doing actual flight training with them. So that's moving along pretty well, I believe.
Well, that's great to hear. I think that opens the door of opportunity to start bringing electric aircraft to the Sacramento region too. And of course, I share your vision of getting charging infrastructure between our 2 cities so that we can demonstrate that they can actually be cross-country aircraft as well as flight training. What probably some of my directors don't know is that when you're learning to fly small general aviation aircraft, most of your flights are near your home airport and a duration of like 45 minutes. So electric propulsion aircraft could supplant piston airplanes completely for flight training. The cost savings is dramatic, and Joseph has pointed out many times that there are tremendous opportunities for regional pilots. A lot of the Vietnam era pilots are aging out, and there is a tremendous demand for new pilots. This opens the door, and especially for people of modest income, to get into aviation, which has always been beyond the reach of people of low income in the past. So there's just tremendous opportunity here. Joseph, has anybody done any studies on the concentration of lead around general aviation airports as a result of using 100 low lead gas?
Oh, and there was some analysis that we came across for our airports Chandler Executive, and a couple of the others, the lead concentrations, actual measuring the lead concentrations in the neighborhoods around those airports, I'm not aware that anyone's done that recently, but I am certain that it's probably fairly high.
That's kind of the general idea. The point I'm trying to make is that this is the only fuel with lead left in it in America, and we know that lead is a health hazard in any significant concentration. So eliminating that is a tremendous benefit, for the area. I suspect that if anybody did actually analyze the concentration of lead around GA airports, it could lead to some significant litigation. So it'd be great to avoid that, to not get to that point, but just to embrace electric propulsion in aviation, as a way to circumvent it. I'm very excited about this, and my daughter is just learning how to fly, and I really hope that I can get her into an Alpha Electro. So I look forward to coming down, and I actually want to talk to you about that to get down to your airport and
Absolutely.
get in one of these airplanes finally. A couple more things I wanted to mention. Hybrid technology is catching on very quickly too.
Yes.
So for larger jet aircraft to use some aspect of battery power to promote their longevity in the air with less air quality degradation has a great potential also. And I know that some of the bigger aircraft companies are pouring many millions of dollars into hybrid technology research as we speak, and that's actually a growth industry that I hope we can capitalize upon that, not only in the Fresno area, but in the Sacramento area too, because we have decommissioned air bases that are a perfect location for that type of industry.
Yes.
Let's see, the last thing I wanted to say is, well, I guess that's about it. There's just tremendous opportunity here. It's going to be an integral part of our mobility option moving forward. But the benefits to air quality are obvious. They're 100% if you have a fully electric EV airplane. So let's move together in this direction. I really hope in my lifetime to fly down to Fresno in an electric plane. And even if it means stopping and swapping a battery pack or charging along the way, I'm willing to do it. Just as people are willing to, hit a fast charger going to the Bay Area in their electric cars. One thing that Alberto brought up is, in terms of promoting electric propulsion, what could be better than showing a picture of an electric airplane flying? For people who are hesitant to adopt electric propulsion in their automobile, once they see that you can actually get places in an electric airplane, I think it really opens the door. And it's certainly a great talking point. If you can fly with a battery, you can certainly drive with the battery.
Well, that was exactly, we actually coined a little catchphrase like that when we submitted our grant application to Fresno County Transportation Authority. We said, well, if you can fly electric, you can drive electric. And it does. It is true. One of the things I will point out really quickly, because you mentioned hybrid, when we had this conversation with Boeing Horizon X, and they spent a couple of days with us, which was really, really special. We were talking about the Zunum hybrid small airliner, thin haul airliner is what they're referred to. And I brought up the point, I said, well, the thing will probably be like a plug-in hybrid where you'll plug it into the airport infrastructure while it's on the ground so you can charge the batteries so the gas turbine generator won't be running. And they kind of looked at me and they had that look like, oh, how did you figure that out? And it's logical, right? So I suspect that that's exactly the way these things are going to operate because they want to conserve the amount of liquid fuel that they carry on board, because if they carry too much, it's just extra weight. And weight is certainly the challenge with aircraft. So I think it's going to be an amazing future, and we're leading it, which is awesome. And I think that's a great opportunity for us to capitalize on moving forward.
Global airline travel is a very significant contributor to climate change.
It is. And
any efficiency we can garner by hybrid technology is going to be a great boon. I don't see people, moving away from jet travel. So gaining efficiencies in that area is extremely important.
Yes.
It's a really great field to be in right now.
Yes.
If I was a young engineer, that's where I'd be.
Yep, absolutely.
Joseph, thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to Director Fox.
There was one other question.
I just wanted to say I'm very excited about this, but you mentioned a YouTube, and if we could see that YouTube, I would be interested in seeing
I
it.
will definitely, as soon as I get back to my office this afternoon, I'll send it to Alberto so that he can distribute it to the board.
Thank you.
It's about a 3.5-minute video, and it's really cool.
Or come over to my iPad when we're done and I'll show it to you.
I searched for it just on Boeing Horizon X, and I couldn't find it, but they sent me the link, so I'll send it to you. Okay, thank you all very much.
One quick question.
Oh, no, we have a few more questions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Estimated time in the future when the electric engine for the aircraft meets the qualifications to make it equal to what the avgas production would be with the 206 or something similar for light commercial use?
Well, the electric motors are there now. In fact, Siemens has a 260 kilowatt aircraft electric motor that they've actually mounted in an extra 300 that broke the climb records for ground to 10,000 feet. The power of the motor is not the issue. It's the battery technology to, provide the endurance is really the challenge. And the engineers that I talk to, both with the manufacturer like Pipistrel and others, they believe that probably by somewhere around 2025, we'll have battery technology that will allow an aircraft of something like a 206 to fly for a couple of hours and then land and recharge.
So that makes light, short distance commercial use.
Yes.
Not that far in the distance.
Not that far in the future. Uber is planning to test their Uber Air service by 2020, so a year and a half. Kitty Hawk, one of the companies that's actually designing and building an aircraft, an eVTOL electric aircraft that would participate in that service. They actually have 2 prototypes. One of them's in Hollister, California, just down the road, and the other one is flying in New Zealand, and they're starting to do evaluation flights in New Zealand. So, and they're just one of number of them. The FAA told us that they have seen over 100 designs of these aircraft coming through their doors for initial certification evaluations. So this is not a small thing by any means.
So if we can get the batteries there, we've got the capability of.
We get the batteries there, we've got the capability. And the thing that's driving the battery technology is not aircraft, it is these. Because there's billions of these, and everybody wants a faster, bigger, more powerful this. And so this is what's driving the technology for the cars, for the airplanes, for the trucks, and for the buses. And the similarity between the aircraft and the trucks and the buses is astounding. The charger sizing, the electrical capacity needs, they're very, very similar, almost identical. And CalSTART is seeing that because we're deploying electric trucks, electric buses, and now we're working with electric airplanes. So,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Director Cruz.
Oh, thank you. I'm really impressed with this as well. I'm looking forward to it. The biggest issue has been brought up as far as commercial airlines, but I do have a couple of questions. You mentioned the batteries, and lithium-ion batteries at this point are a little sketchy depending upon the vehicle or phone you have in your hand. How do you think they're going to be addressing the weight issue with the 277 pounds, I think, of batteries in one of these versus 84 pounds of fuel?
Yeah, it's, well, for the Alpha Electro, it's not a problem because the way Pipistrel designed the aircraft, the Alpha Electro is the same performance and weight and characteristics as the gasoline version. The big difference is with electric, you can't offload fuel to add more payload. So your payload is your payload. And so I'm more limited than if I was flying a gas version of the same aircraft. Same aircraft, in gas, I could offload some fuel and carry a 250-pound passenger. In the Alpha Electro, I can't. I'm limited to 200 pounds. So energy density per kilogram is going to be our driver on these aircraft to a large degree. But that is improving very steadily. And so, everybody that we are talking to foresees a day within a next 3 to 5 years where you're going to get energy densities per kilogram that are going to approach gasoline, but probably won't quite get there, because gasoline's like 700 watts per kilogram in terms of its energy density. And right now, the batteries that are in the Alpha Electros are about 250 watts per kilogram. But there are battery technologies out there that are pushing up on 500 and plus watts per kilogram. So it's moving. It's moving in the right direction.
I think it's a great idea. I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a couple of comments for myself. I had the opportunity, as part of the National League of Cities Community and Economic Development Team, federal task force or whatever we call it, to visit Fort Worth, in particular Bell Helicopters headquarters, where they have their Uber Elevate simulator that all of us city council members and mayors got to ride in and actually feel what it would be like to skip traffic and go from work all the way to your house and seeing all of the traffic below you.
Yes.
But there's some really interesting innovations coming along in a lot of these spaces. And as much as I respect my colleague here from Sacramento, there is another airport in my city that has a whole lot of open space around it. And then again, that's where they just had an air show. So if there's any way for us to partner there, and I know there's a flight school there now, and there's, it's one of the longest runways, I think, this side of the Mississippi, and I see trainers there all the time, including the U2 trainers that come at least 2 to 4 times a day. So if there's any way for us to partner between Fresno and my city or anywhere else in the region, I'd be very interested in that.
And then pardon my ignorance, but what city are you?
Rancho Cordova, so Mather Airport.
Got it. Yeah.
And so the only other thing I was going to comment about that you kind of touched on, but just something that I read that to explain it, at least the need for additional training hours for folks is in these regional airlines, the smaller jets. So even American's company, I can't remember what it is on the West Coast that does the LA trips and the Seattles and some of the shorter trips, that they're really struggling to find enough pilots for those flights. The international ones are fine; they pay really great. The other ones, they're just not finding people to do it. And one of the biggest struggles is paying out of pocket to get your hours to keep your license so that you can even get that job.
Yes.
And it just doesn't pay enough in order for you to spend the 80 hours or whatever it takes you to get your license to actually even apply for that job. So this is not only something very important as far as air and health, it's also a huge economic development opportunity if we can harness it here.
Yeah,
so.
It is. And it's 1,500 hours is what
1,500, there you go.
1,500 hours just to get into the right seat on a regional jet.
That's
and
right.
That is a real challenge right now, because that 1,500 hours represents a lot of investment.
What's the average? I know my wife is trying to get her just regular pilot's license, not that. To get 1,500 hours ballpark, what does that cost someone?
It's the numbers that I've heard are somewhere in the range of $60,000, and because the more advanced aircraft that you have to fly, because you can't just get 1,500 hours as a private pilot. You have to get 1,500 hours total, which includes you need a commercial rating, you need an instrument rating. They prefer that you've got a CFI rating, certified flight instructor rating. And so all of those, and multi-engine, and so all of those ratings, you end up having to fly more expensive aircraft, and the hourly rate for the rental on the aircraft just gets higher and higher, not to mention the instructor fees.
Yeah. So what I've read is that essentially the only place that you're going to get those certifications is if you go into the military. And the military does not have a need for that many pilots anymore, especially with drone technology and a lot of other things driving it. And so it's really fascinating if there's a way to bring that cost down and have that kind of capability in my city or your city or around here. That could be a huge economic driver for this region.
Just to give you a comparison on what we estimate the fully burdened operating cost on an Alpha Electro when we get them into flight training, we anticipate we can rent them for about $50 a flight or $50 an hour. And that compares to a 50 to 60-year-old gas trainer on our field that rents for about $125 an hour. Mm-hmm. So you start adding that up over 40, 50 hours of flight time, it makes a big difference. And there's more advanced training aircraft that are electrically powered already in the works. So yeah, it's coming.
Thank you.
Chair Terry, I just wanted two final comments. First, certainly in the program that I'm envisioning, we're looking at charging infrastructure at Mather, in fact, all of our regional airports. So it's a regional vision, not a city vision. Just wanted to assure you of that.
Appreciate that.
The other thing is, as far as safety, engine out forced landings is a pretty common thing with piston aircraft. I've experienced it myself twice. They're survivable, certainly, but the dependability of an electric motor compared to a piston aircraft, and Joseph alluded to this, is tremendous. And I think that we would probably see a decrease in aviation accidents as a result of adopting electric propulsion.
Yes.
That's it.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Director Gaylord.
Yeah, I just had two questions. One, what's the safety and terrorism aspect to this, as far as if this became a mass transit type solution, and you have like Uber with drivers but pilots taking folks who book it on an app. What's the outlook on that as far as getting someone you may or may not know that could utilize that plane in some sort of attack or something?
Well, the aircraft, I guess we could theorize on this all day long. I believe Uber is building quite a few security protocols into their service, especially if they're going to be offering it as an autonomous service. The service, the aircraft themselves, however, are quite light, so they don't have much mass. If someone tried to crash them into a building, the building's going to win. The aircraft itself are Kevlar fiberglass, and they're just not that substantial. The gross weight on our Alpha Electros are 1,200 pounds, and so I don't even know that I could even speculate on that at this point. I can tell you that from a safety perspective, our Alpha Electros are equipped with ballistic recovery parachutes. So if there is a catastrophic failure, and the catastrophic failure I would envision is if somebody runs into me and cuts off my tail or cuts off part of the wing, I'll pull the chute. Any other scenario, and I'd fly the airplane and land it, because they glide amazingly well. They have about a 17-to-1 glide ratio. In fact, the other day, Jeff, you'll appreciate this, I was 2,300 feet, 3.5 miles out from Chandler on a 45-degree approach into the downwind for landing, and I cut the power to 0 and just glided the airplane all the way down to the ground without even touching the throttle. So, that's amazing what they can do. Mm-hmm.
I would just also point out to part of your question, if it did run into something, it's not carrying any fuel comparatively to other instances in our history where that's been an issue. Okay, if there aren't any other questions, do we have any public comment on this item? Okay, thank you very much. This was really informative.
Thank you very much.
So with that, do we have any public comment?
No, we do not.
Okay, any board ideas or comments? Seeing none, do we have any announcements? Nope. We will stand adjourned.